In the untouched wilds of Skull Island, silence ruled, until something dared to challenge the king. A serpent, older than myth, coiled in the shadows, until it struck. But this is not just a fight for survival. This is a war for dominance. And one titan will fall. Stay to witness the battle that shook the jungle, and revealed the soul of a protector. The mist draped Skull Island like a ghostly veil, cloaking a primeval forest where time itself seemed to hold its breath. Dawn's first rays, timid and golden, pierced the towering canopy in slivers, painting the dew-drenched undergrowth with fleeting beams of light. The air thrummed with life, the ceaseless hum of insects, the distant, mournful trill of a bird hidden in the shadows, and the soft rustle of leaves stirred by a restless breeze. This was a realm of ancient secrets, where the heartbeat of the wild pulsed in every gnarled root and weathered stone. At its core, rousing from a deep slumber, was the island's unchallenged sovereign, King Kong, the lord of this untamed domain. Kong stirred with a breath so deep it seemed to draw the very essence of the forest into his colossal frame. His jet black fur, thick and matted from years of battles and survival, rippled over muscles that could rend mountains. Rising to his full height, he stood as a monolith among the ancient trees, his amber eyes, pools of primal wisdom and unyielding instinct, sweeping across his kingdom. The air was heavy with the scents of damp earth, blooming orchids, and the sharp, resinous tang of tree sap. This was his sanctuary, a world kept in balance by his strength and vigilance. He stretched a massive arm, sinews flexing like steel cables, and scratched idly at his side, oblivious to the silent threat already slithering closer. A faint, cold friction against his bicep halted him. His eyes narrowed, and he looked down. A creature, its scales glinting like polished obsidian under the dawn's light, was coiling around his arm. At first, it was a single, sinuous loop, its touch alien and chilling. But it tightened with a deliberate, predatory intent. This was no ordinary snake. Its body, thick as a young tree, stretched far into the shadows of the undergrowth. Its length a dark, endless ribbon, its triangular head, crowned with a jagged ridge of bony spines, rose to meet Kong's gaze. Twin yellow eyes, sharp as daggers and burning with cold malice, locked onto him. The serpent's scales rasped against his fur, a grating sensation that sent a prickle of unease through the great ape's frame. Annoyance flared in Kong's chest, a low growl rumbling like distant thunder. This was his domain, his very flesh, and this audacious intruder dared to challenge him. The snake, unfazed, continued its slow, deliberate ascent, its coils spreading across his shoulder and chest, each movement precise and menacing. The faint hiss of its scales echoed like a whispered threat. Kong's growl deepened, vibrating through the forest, sending a flock of vibrant, jewel-toned birds scattering into the sky. He seized a nearby log, its rotten wood crumbling in his grip like dry clay, and swung it toward the serpent. But the creature was too swift, its slippery form evading the blow with infuriating ease. The snake tightened its grip, the pressure mounting until Kong's breaths grew heavy, each inhalation a battle against the crushing coils. Rage erupted within him, a primal fire that surged through his veins like molten lava. He unleashed a roar that shook the earth, the sound rolling across Skull Island like a tidal wave. Trees quivered, their leaves cascading in a green blizzard, and smaller creatures, scampering rodents and skittering lizards, fled into the underbrush. The serpent's head was now inches from Kong's face, its yellow eyes unyielding, its forked tongue flicking to taste the air. The acrid stench of the reptile flooded Kong's nostrils, laced with the metallic tang of venomous intent. Its fangs, curved and sharp as scimitars, gleamed in the dim light, poised to deliver a deadly strike. Kong roared again, saliva spraying from his jaws, his fury a defiant challenge to the serpent's insolence. This was no mere skirmish, it was a battle for his sovereignty, a test of his right to rule. High above, the graying sky churned with ominous shapes. Pterodactyls, their leathery wings slicing through the mist, circled with predatory patience. Their shrill cries, sharp and piercing, echoed faintly, a grim reminder of the island's merciless law. Only the strong endured, and the weak became prey. Kong's amber eyes flicked upward, registering the scavenger's presence. But the serpent's tightening coils snapped his focus back. His chest ached under the crushing pressure. Each breath a labored gasp. He had to break free. Not just for himself, but for the island that depended on his strength. In a fleeting moment, as the snake adjusted its grip, Kong seized his chance. His muscles bulged, veins pulsing like rivers under his skin, and he twisted his massive frame, seeking leverage against the suffocating hold. His thick hide scraped painfully against the serpent's scales, the friction sparking irritation and pain. He anchored one hand to a nearby tree, its ancient roots groaning under his weight, and lunged forward, dragging the snake with him. The forest shuddered, the ground trembling as his footsteps carved deep furrows in the earth. Vines snapped, and small branches splintered under the force of his movement, the air thick with the scent of crushed foliage. Not far away, a quieter but no less desperate drama unfolded in the canopy. Perched on a gnarled branch of an ancient banyan tree, a small nest quivered. Inside, a mother bird, her feathers a vibrant mosaic of emerald and sapphire, huddled over her eggs, her fragile body their only shield. The tremors of Kong's battle reached her, each roar a jolt to her tiny, racing heart. Her chirps, soft and plaintive, were swallowed by the chaos below. Then, her worst fear materialized. A second serpent, its scales a deeper shade of midnight, ascended the tree with slow, predatory grace. Its triangular head swayed, its yellow eyes fixed on the nest with cold hunger. The mother bird's chirps turned frantic, a desperate plea for help that went unanswered in the din of the forest. Kong, locked in his struggle, sensed the new threat. Perhaps it was the bird's faint cries piercing the chaos, or the subtle shift in the first serpent's coils, or the instinct of a protector honed by years of guarding this wild domain. A new fury, fiercer than before, surged through him. This was no longer just about his survival, it was about the sanctity of Skull Island, the safety of its smallest inhabitants. With a bellow that split the air, Kong lunged toward the banyan tree, his free arm still ensnared by the first serpent. The second snake, caught off guard, hissed sharply as Kong's massive hand closed around its body. His grip was like iron, the serpent's scales cracking under the pressure, sending chunks of bark raining down like shrapnel. The tree groaned, its ancient trunk scarred by the force of his grasp. The first serpent, enraged by Kong's defiance, tightened its coils with bone-crushing force. Its tail lashed out, the whip-like motion sending a gust of wind through the forest, toppling smaller trees and scattering debris. Its head darted forward, fangs bared, aiming for Kong's throat. Kong jerked his head aside, the fangs grazing his shoulder, leaving shallow, stinging gashes that burned with venom's promise. Blood mingled with sweat, matting his fur and dripping to the earth. But Kong's resolve was unbreakable. He roared again, the sound a primal declaration of dominance, and wrestled the first serpent's coils with both hands, his muscles straining against the relentless pressure. The second serpent, still gripped in his fist, thrashed wildly, its body coiling around his arm in a desperate bid for freedom. The forest became a battleground, the air thick with dust, splintered wood, and the metallic tang of blood. Smaller trees snapped like kindling under the weight of the struggle, their trunks reduced to jagged stumps. The pterodactyls above circled closer, their screeches growing louder, their shadows flickering across the canopy like vultures awaiting a feast. Kong's chest heaved, each breath a battle against the first serpent's tightening grip. His vision blurred at the edges, the pain in his shoulders searing. But the image of the trembling nest, the helpless bird, fueled his strength. He would not falter. Amid the chaos, the forest's other inhabitants bore witness to the titanic struggle. A troop of small, monkey-like creatures, their fur a patchwork of gray and brown, clung to the high branches, chattering nervously. A massive stag, its antlers crowned with moss, froze in a nearby clearing, its eyes wide with fear. Even the insects fell silent, their hum replaced by the crashing of bodies and the splintering of wood. The island itself seemed to hold its breath, watching its lord fight for its soul. Kong's strength was waning, his breaths coming in ragged gasps, but his will burned brighter than ever. He planted his feet, the earth cracking beneath him like brittle stone, seizing the first serpent's body with both hands. He ignored the second snake's thrashing in his grip, His muscles bulged, veins pulsing like rivers under his skin. And he began to lift the first serpent, its massive weight straining every fiber of his being. The creature hissed, its yellow eyes blazing with defiance. But Kong's resolve was unyielding. He raised it higher, the serpent's coils slipping as it struggled to maintain its hold. The sky darkened, heavy clouds rolling in to smother the dawn's light. Thunder rumbled, closer now, a harbinger of the storm to come. Lightning flickered on the horizon, casting jagged shadows across the forest. Kong's eyes locked onto the serpent's, his gaze a furnace of contempt and determination. With a final, earth-shaking roar, he spun his body, using the momentum to hurl the first serpent skyward. Its long, sinuous form arced through the air, a dark ribbon against the storm clouds, before vanishing into the dense canopy. A distant crash echoed through the forest, the sound of its defeat reverberating like a drumbeat of triumph. Kong turned his attention to the second serpent, still writhing in his grip, its scales scraped against his palm, its body coiling tighter in a last, desperate act of defiance. With a single, crushing squeeze, he silenced its hissing protests, its body going limp in his hand. He tossed it aside, its form slumping against the roots of the banyan tree, a lifeless heap of scales and malice. The mother bird, still perched in her nest, chirped softly, her eggs safe at last. The forest fell silent, save for the rustle of leaves and the low growl of thunder drawing nearer. Kong stood, panting heavily, his body a map of scratches, bruises, and shallow wounds. Blood and sweat dripped from his fur, pooling in the earth like dark offerings. His chest heaved, each breath a testament to his survival, his endurance, his unbreakable will. He looked up at the nest. The mother bird's soft chirps a quiet hymn of gratitude. The pterodactyls, sensing the battle's end, wheeled away, their cries fading into the storm's approach. The monkey-like creatures in the canopy resumed their chatter, tentative at first, while the stag in the clearing bounded away, its hoofbeats swallowed by the forest. The first drops of rain fell, cool and sharp, pattering against the leaves and Kong's matted fur. The storm was coming, but it was a fleeting threat compared to the one he had vanquished. The forest stirred back to life, its rhythm returning like a heartbeat. Birds resumed their songs, their melodies weaving through the air. Insects hummed once more, their chorus rising in the undergrowth. The wind whispered through the leaves, carrying the scent of rain, earth, and victory. Kong took a deep breath, the air filling his lungs with the taste of survival, of triumph, of home. He settled beneath the banyan tree, his massive form blending into the shadows of its sprawling branches. His body ached, his wounds stung, but a quiet pride swelled within him. He had protected his domain, defended the weak, and reaffirmed his place as Lord of Skull Island. The storm broke overhead, rain cascading in sheets, lightning illuminating the forest in stark flashes. But Kong was unmoved, his amber eyes fixed on the horizon, ever watchful, ever ready. The island was his, and he its heart, its protector, its king. As the storm raged, Kong's thoughts drifted to the countless challenges he had faced in this wild world. Each battle had scarred him, shaped him, forged him into the guardian he was. He remembered the great beasts he had felled, the storms he had weathered, the moments of quiet when the forest sang its gratitude. This battle, though fierce, was but one chapter in his reign. There would be others, new threats lurking in the shadows, new tests of his strength. But for now, he rested, his massive chest rising and falling, the rain washing away the blood and sweat of his victory. The forest, too, seemed to exhale. The mother bird tucked her eggs closer, her chirps softening into a lullaby. The monkey-like creatures swung through the canopy, their chatter growing bolder. The stag, now far from the battleground, grazed in a quiet glade, the tension of the morning fading. Skull Island lived, its pulse steady under Kong's guardianship. The storm would pass, as all storms did, and the sun would rise again, casting its golden light over land that knew its king. Kong closed his eyes, the rain a soothing rhythm against his fur. The forest sounds enveloped him, the drip of water, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of a bird. He was weary, but unbowed, his spirit as indomitable as the island itself. He would rise again, ready to face whatever challenges this primal world brought. For he was King Kong, the heart of Skull Island, its protector and its lord.